works best when it is gentle, steady, and realistic, because blackheads usually develop slowly as oil, dead skin cells, sweat, leftover product, and ordinary daily friction collect around the opening of the pore over time. So the smartest approach is not to attack the skin, but to keep it calmer, cleaner, and less congested without creating fresh irritation. A simple routine is often more effective than an exciting one. Cleanse the face in the morning and again at night with a mild cleanser and lukewarm water, because very hot water can strip the skin barrier and leave the face feeling tight, dry, and more reactive. Use your fingertips rather than rough scrubs, abrasive washcloths, or stiff cleansing brushes, because blackhead-prone skin usually responds better to calm handling than to aggressive rubbing. If you sweat after exercise, yard work, housework, hot weather, or a long day under sunscreen and makeup, it helps to rinse or cleanse the skin as soon as practical, because sweat mixed with oil and residue can sit on the surface and add to that heavy, clogged feeling. Avoid squeezing, scraping, pinching, digging, or trying to force blackheads out at home, because that often causes more redness, swelling, irritation, lingering marks, and regret than the original blackheads ever caused. Choose non-comedogenic products whenever possible, including moisturizer, sunscreen, makeup, and hair products, especially if your hair touches your forehead, temples, or cheeks. A lightweight moisturizer can help because skin that becomes too dry often becomes irritated, and irritated skin makes people impatient, and impatient people are exactly the ones most likely to stand too close to a bathroom mirror and start making decisions they would not defend the next morning. If you use over-the-counter acne care, it is usually smarter to begin slowly with one well-chosen active ingredient instead of layering several strong treatments at once. Salicylic acid may help keep pores clearer, and adapalene may help reduce clogged pores over time, but patience matters more than panic. Improvement usually comes from steady use over time, not from one dramatic weekend of treating your face like a chemistry experiment. Remove makeup before bed. Change pillowcases regularly. Clean the things that touch your face often, like phone screens, eyeglass frames, hat bands, and helmet straps. Keep heavier oils and styling products away from acne-prone skin when you can. Try not to rest your face in your hands for long stretches while reading, thinking, worrying, driving, scrolling, or politely listening to a story that should have ended 15 minutes ago. Stress management matters too, not because stress alone causes every blackhead, but because stress often leads to poor sleep, rushed cleansing, more face touching, more picking, skipped routines, and the kind of late-night bathroom behavior that always feels strangely productive until daylight arrives with a very different opinion. Diet does not need to become a courtroom trial, but hydration, regular meals, moderation, and decent sleep support better daily habits overall. If blackheads are stubborn, widespread, mixed with inflamed acne, or simply not improving despite a sensible routine, professional guidance may save time and frustration. Prevention is rarely glamorous. It usually looks like repeating calm habits, reducing friction, choosing products the skin can tolerate, and remembering that steady care beats dramatic interference most of the time, and that exact same principle, the principle that not every small irritation needs to be picked at until it becomes a full-blown scene, would have been very helpful to Frank Delaney, of Sycamore Ridge Senior Village in Ohio before the Tuesday morning. He accidentally became the emergency host of the community's first ever porch swing swap and Biscuit Buffet, an event that began as a pleasant fundraiser for the resident garden club and ended with a wobbling but beloved rocking chair race, a missing tray of cinnamon rolls, 2 competitive sisters from Dayton, and one gloriously indignant basset hound wearing a rain bonnet. Frank was 79 years old, retired after 45 years as inventory supervisor for a plumbing and hardware distributor, which meant he trusted labels, tape measures, and clear instructions with more devotion than he trusted inspirational signage. He lived with his wife, Carol, in a comfortable brick duplex with green shutters, a small porch, one obedient fern, and a hall closet so meticulously organized that visitors tended to stand in front of it for a moment as if they had stumbled upon a museum exhibit titled Practical America, 1972 to present. Carol was 76, a retired middle school reading teacher with silver hair, warm eyes, and the deeply developed patience of a woman who had been married long enough to know that her husband's complaints about community events were, in fact, his version of caring very hard. Sycamore Ridge was one of those retirement communities where everyone said they were trying not to overbook ourselves anymore, while maintaining an event calendar that could have exhausted a county fair organizer. There was dominoes on Monday, movement class on Tuesday, Bible study on Wednesday, soup lunch on Thursday, old movie night on Friday, and every few weeks there was some larger social event with a title so cheerful it made Frank suspicious on sight. This one had been dreamed up by the garden club, who decided the residents needed a morning to swap extra porch items, plants, and homemade baked goods, while also raising money for new flowers around the mailbox island. In theory, it was simple. People would bring rocking chairs, cushions, little tables, wind chimes, potted herbs, biscuit casseroles, muffins, jams, and porch decorations they no longer needed, then browse, trade, donate, and spend the morning discussing whether begonias were worth the emotional trouble. In practice, anything involving older Americans, free coffee, folding tables, and the phrase swap and buffet was never going to stay simple for long. Frank disliked the whole idea immediately. You can't combine moving furniture, baked goods, and sentimentality before lunch, he told Carol, while carrying a basket of napkins toward the clubhouse. That's 3 unstable systems, sharing one room. Carol smiled in the patient way wives do when they hear a line that will later come back to haunt the speaker. Then it's lucky you're not in charge. Those words had not even settled in the air before Miss Joanne Kessler, the event chair, came speed-walking across the clubhouse parking lot with a clipboard, 2 pens, and the unmistakable expression of a woman whose volunteer structure had just lost a load-bearing beam. Joanne was 69, a widow, former office manager, and the sort of person who could flatten a tablecloth from 6 feet away using nothing but urgency. "Frank," she called. He stopped walking. "No, you don't know what I'm asking." "Your pace says enough." Joanne arrived breathless but determined. "Martin lost his voice at karaoke last night." "That sounds like justice," Frank said. "It sounds like my MC is gone and my event starts in 20 minutes. That sounds like your sentence." "Frank." Joanne. Carol, who had by now fully understood what fate had in mind and chosen not to interfere with its education, said, "He does speak clearly. That," Frank said, "is not marital support." From a folding table near the muffins, a retired mechanic named Lou let out a laugh and said, "He sounds like a county commissioner when he wants cream." Joanne pushed the microphone and a stack of handwritten cue cards into Frank's hands before resistance could complete its paperwork. "You know everybody. You project well, and you won't let this place turn into an upholstered riot." Frank looked down at the microphone as if it had personally insulted him. The fact that you already had that phrase ready is not encouraging. But 5 minutes later, he was standing at the front of the fellowship hall beside a banner that read, "Welcome to the Porch Swing Swap," and Biscuit Buffet in sunflower-colored letters, and one slanted exclamation point. The room looked like a southern front porch had collided with a church breakfast in the back of a craft store. There were rocking chairs against one wall, little wicker tables, potted plants, cushions, lanterns, jars of jam, stacks of biscuits, trays of cinnamon rolls, sausage gravy, peach preserves, coffee urns, and one table devoted entirely to porch whimsy, which included a ceramic frog in overalls and a wind chime made of old spoons. Frank had already decided the wind chime was evidence of optimism gone feral. He tapped the microphone. It squealed once. He stared at it with the disappointed patience of a man who had seen much from wires and liked little of it. "Good morning," he said. "If you can hear me, excellent. If you cannot, please sit near someone with stronger hearing and weaker stories." The room laughed immediately. Even Frank looked mildly betrayed by his own effectiveness. He continued, "Welcome to the porch swing swap and biscuit buffet. Please remember 3 things. First, no one sits in furniture for sale unless invited. Second, the buffet line begins at the left and not in whatever spiritual direction your biscuit urges you. Third, if you brought anything described as whimsical, I ask only that you accept responsibility for it." Bigger laugh. Carol sat down at a table beside 2 widows and whispered, "He's going to be good." One of them replied, "That's the worst possible outcome for his humility." The morning began smoothly. Frank introduced the plant table, the muffin table, the porch decor section, and the furniture swap with the dry exactness of a man filing reports on a civic emergency that had elected to be charming. To my left we have herb pots, hanging ferns, and enough basil to alarm a tomato. At the center table, homemade jams, most of them legal. Along the wall, porch chairs, side tables, and one swing cushion that looks deeply committed to afternoon naps. The room loved him. That was the first real trouble. Because once an audience discovers a serious man is accidentally funny, it stops listening for information and starts listening for him. Every sign of his dry practicality made the morning better. When a little boy started spinning the spoon wind chime like a carnival wheel, Frank said, "Young man, that object is already unstable without encouragement." When 2 women both reached for the same jar of fig preserves, he took it, read the label, cut the tied raffle ribbon from around the lid, and said, "The preserves have now been released into a neutral market." The room nearly folded over laughing. By 10 o'clock, people were clustering closer to the front table just to hear what he would say next. Then came the first true disturbance. 2 sisters from Dayton, Lorraine, and Deanna arrived late with a painted porch bench and 40 years of shared grievance packed neatly into one station wagon. The bench was pretty, whitewashed, and decorated with stenciled bluebirds. It was also, according to both women, either worth $80 or sentimental enough not to be priced by common people. They disagreed publicly and instantly. Lorraine said their mother would have wanted a fair price. Deanna said their mother would have wanted the bench to go where it's appreciated, which in practice meant nowhere local enough to be satisfying. People began slowing down near the argument. Coffee stopped halfway to mouths. Frank saw it building and stepped up with the microphone. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said, "we are now entering the heritage furniture portion of the morning." The room cracked immediately. Even the sisters paused. Frank continued, "The bench will be placed in the silent auction corner until sentiment and arithmetic reach a ceasefire." The entire room applauded as if he had negotiated grain access. The sisters both started talking again, but now they were laughing too, which is how old family wars become bearable when enough strangers are present. The second trouble came from the buffet. A long table held biscuits, gravy, butter, jam, fruit, and trays of cinnamon rolls that had been donated by a woman whose church baking had previously healed arguments and once nearly caused one over recipe secrecy. Frank had specifically announced that the line began at the left because the gravy urn and coffee station needed space. This did not stop a retired dentist named Harold from attempting a diagonal approach across the front corner, because he claimed to be just getting fruit. The diagonal approach caused 3 other people to turn too soon, which caused a granddaughter in pink rain boots to bump the napkin stand, which slid into the tray of cinnamon rolls, which shifted just enough to make one entire front row of rolls begin gliding toward the edge of the table like very sweet livestock. 3 women gasped. Harold froze. Frank lunged one step, grabbed the tray, and said into the still live microphone, "Absolutely not. We are not losing pastry to geometry." The hall collapsed into laughter. Carol had tears in her eyes. Joanne sat down on the nearest folding chair and laughed into the clipboard. Harold, to his credit, raised both hands and said, "I admit fault in the matter of fruit." Frank set the tray back and added, "That line begins on the left for reasons this room is now mature enough to understand." People repeated that sentence for the rest of the morning. The diagonal fruit maneuver entered community folklore before the coffee was even refilled. After that, the event no longer belonged to Joanne or the garden club. It belonged to the room. Everyone could feel it. The atmosphere loosened. The stories got funnier. The people lingered longer. Nobody cared whether the schedule stayed exact, as long as Frank kept narrating the morning, as though the entire population of older Americans and grandchildren in attendance were participating in some mild but ongoing administrative comedy. Then came the basset hound. His name was Winston. He belonged to a visiting granddaughter from Lexington who had dressed him in a yellow rain bonnet because it matched his mood, a sentence Frank considered both absurd and alarmingly effective. Winston shuffled into the hall beside the porch decor table and immediately attracted the affection normally reserved for toddlers and pies. He also had the exact low-slung body profile necessary to become a hazard beneath chairs. Frank saw him and said into the microphone, "I would like everyone to note that the dog has entered below knee level and should be respected accordingly." The room laughed. Winston ignored them all and headed toward the smell of sausage. His owner followed, so did 3 children. So did one old man with a piece of biscuit. This created a small and very avoidable traffic knot between the coffee urn, the spoon wind chime, and the furniture wall. At that exact moment, a volunteer trying to shift the painted bluebird bench caught one corner of a display rug, which tugged the leg of a narrow plant stand, which tilted the stand enough for the ceramic goose-shaped watering can on top to wobble dramatically. Winston, perhaps sensing theater, barked once. The children squealed. The goose watering can tipped, hit the edge of the bluebird bench, and poured the remaining half-inch of stale water directly onto the floor in front of the buffet line. The room gasped in one shared breath. Frank looked at the spreading puddle, the dog, the children, the bench, the rug, and the still eager diagonal tendencies of Harold near the fruit bowl and said, "No one rush the puddle. We are already overcommitted." The place detonated. Laughter rolled from wall to wall. Winston barked again, convinced of his artistic contribution. 2 volunteers wiped up the water. One woman from table 3 said, "That goose has attitude." And Frank replied, "The goose has now been reassigned to supervise display." The goose watering can sold 10 minutes later for $20 entirely because it had become part of the story. But the true masterpiece of disorder came during what Joanne called the rocking chair demonstration, a phrase Frank had opposed from the start because chairs do not need demonstrating unless trust has already broken down. The idea was simple. A few of the available chairs would be shown for sturdiness, comfort, and porch appeal by willing volunteers. This alone was foolish. It became worse because Lou, the retired mechanic, sat in one of the striped cane-bottom rockers with the full confidence of a man who had never met a chair he could not dominate through personality. The chair was old but not unsound. Unfortunately, the little braided rug beneath it had shifted when Winston came through, and the right rear rocker met the rug edge at an angle best described as morally irresponsible. Lou sat, rocked once, twice, and on the third backward motion, the chair slid half an inch, bumped the display ladder holding 3 hanging ferns, and caused the whole ladder to sway like a Baptist deacon receiving shocking news. People shouted, "Lou froze mid-rock." 1 fern swung. Another dropped exactly 1 dead leaf into the gravy bowl. Frank, who by now had fully accepted that God had put a microphone in his hand for reasons both mysterious and theatrical, stepped forward and said, "Please remain calm. The chair is reflecting on its decisions." The room came apart. Lou laughed so hard he nearly made the situation worse, which only made the laughter louder. 2 men steadied the ladder. The gravy leaf was removed with the seriousness of a